In this video, I selected 5 of your Minecraft builds and drew them into wonderful pieces of art. If you want me to make a part 2, stay tuned till the end of the video to see how you can get into the next one. We will be going through the top 5 best builds sent to me. Coming in 5th place is this official looking marble building sent in by MessyMiner13. So I just started off this drawing by kind of getting down a basic idea on paper of what I wanted to draw later in my digital software. I just kind of scribbled the idea based on the picture with a little bit of creative interpretation. I wasn't too concerned about perspective for this, just want the basic idea. So we start off the drawing process by color blocking in the basic shapes to give us a very good idea of what the finished product will be just from the beginning. As you can see, just the basic colors. I wasn't too worried about or focused on adding shadow yet. I just want to get the basic shapes down so that I can come back to every layer and add that texture and add that color and shadow and highlight to get a finished piece. As you can see, there's not a lot of shadow even with the textures on the columns. The shadow isn't on the front side. Instead, I was planning this shot so that the sun was facing towards the front of the building so there wouldn't be any shadow on those columns. I think I got the lighting right. I don't know. Maybe I messed up. Let me know in the comments. I had a little bit of trouble there with the path, so I came back. I was going to do just stones, like stone pavers, but instead I came back and did bricks. I think it worked out pretty well. Yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with how it was looking. So I just kept on going with this, bright marble look and the columns in the front. It's not exactly the same as the original build, but I think the added details kind of brings it all together, gives it a little more character. I'm not exactly sure what the building's supposed to be used for, but it's up to your imagination, I guess. But I still wanted to add those the trees and the plants along the edges, give it that same original character that the original build had. But yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with how it was looking as I was making it, and the perspective, I fixed that. And here's the reveal. There it is. Look at that. As you can see, I added some blur to the columns to give it more depth. But yeah, it looks pretty good. There's a side-by-side comparison. On to the next one. Penguin Boy, coming in 4th place, sent in a seaside dock tavern. So once again, we start the process on paper with a pencil, just getting down the basic idea of what the image will look like, the composition. I wasn't too focused on proper perspective, which is an issue later that I had to fix. There are some details in here I didn't include inside the finished drawing, like the grass in the front of the windows or the boats. Probably should have, but I forgot about them. So yeah, there you can see there's my perspective grid. It was just a 1-point perspective with a vanishing point in the background just to make it work best with the sketch I already had. So I wasn't going to resketch everything. But the process was pretty interesting. I was drawing a lot of wood in this image. I think I did an okay job at that. I don't know. You can let me know in the comments if the wood texture is not right. But it's also just a drawing, so it's not going to be, perfect paintings of real life or anything. I already had the background done before I hit record by accident, but I think it came out pretty well, and it fits with the foreground decently. Probably should have faded out the background to give it more depth. All the little details in the front were interesting to make. Pretty fun. So there's the final image. There's the reveal. There you go. Let me know what you think down in the comment sections below. I'm pretty satisfied with how it came out. There's the side-by-side comparison of the original. On to the next one. The 3rd place build sent in by Mooney Creates and Dusk Does Stuff is a Roman-inspired Colosseum arena with small houses in the foreground. So once again, we get back to the ground zero with these drawings, just paper and pencil to get a basic idea before I started drawing inside of Krita. So yeah, I just wanted to keep the main details, but I think it came out pretty well. Another building on top of a hill. And yeah. So getting into the drawing, a lot of color blocking, and then I was just adding shadows and highlights. I wanted the sun to be coming from behind the building. Here you can see the little houses I drew. I wanted to draw those as perspective to give a little more size to the main building in the background. I think the houses came out pretty well with the red roofs and the, what do you call those, shingles? I don't know. So yeah, it was interesting to kind of paint this building with the light coming through the windows and the arches, and I wasn't quite sure how much shadow I wanted on the building itself. Maybe I should add a little bit more. I don't know. I'm kind of satisfied with the shape of the building. The perspective maybe could have been better. Maybe I didn't take this one and put it in any kind of perspective grids like the first two. Maybe I should have done that to give it more perfection. Kind of an evening time photo, and I think it came out pretty well. It's going to add little bushes and trees along the pathway to give it more character and to hopefully give it a better sense of size. I wanted this building to seem really, really big, so if I have some trees that kind of are right in front of the building that are like really small, it makes the building look even better. And here's the final reveal. I added more shadow to the front. But there you go. I am pretty satisfied with it. Let me know what you think, and on to the next one. Ranking in second place is Mr. Cube 6. He has built this very unique oceanside desert ruin. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it looks like a cool fortress or stronghold, or possibly a ruined palace. So once again, we're back to the starting process of drawing just a basic sketch down, getting the general idea out for the image of what I am going to put into Krita to paint. So yeah, I think the image itself, the original build, was pretty good. Very interesting build. And so yeah, I had a lot to work with shapes and stuff for the finished product. Here, once again, with the painting process, I just start off by color blocking and then adding, highlights and shadows. I noticed that I didn't put as much texture on these hills like I should have. Maybe I can go back and fix that later. But yeah, I think it was pretty interesting to draw with all the layers, because you have like the hills in the back, and then you have the dunes, and then you have the hill in the foreground, the giant rock pillars where the town is built on, and then you have the buildings on that hill, or I mean the rock mountains or whatever in the front. And then you have the buildings below them, and then you have the walls, and then you have the buildings in front of the walls. So it was just really interesting to, try to get everything right in terms of perspective and layering. It was definitely interesting. But overall, I think this image came out pretty well. Maybe I could have done a little bit better, but I'm not an expert. Here's the final reveal. And there you go. Look at that. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Here's a side-by-side of the original image that I was referencing and the finished product. On to the next one. Winner of this video with the first place build is Martin Minecraft Gamer. He has built this nice little hobbit hole with a small garden in front of it. So we're back to the beginning process of just getting a main sketch out of the drawing we will be drawing later in Krita. And then painting as well. Just adding a bunch of little details, little rocks and grass and lamps and things you would see maybe in a hobbit hole, to give it character. And here is the sketch that we have. I add a little vine going over the arch there. You can see there's a little more character. Let's get restarted into the drawing process. Start off the drawing process with basic color blocking of the hills, just to get the basic shapes out of the way, so we can add highlights of the moon over the hills and the shadows, as well as on the foreground. In the background, I just took a blue color and a dark blue color and just threw a bunch of splattered highlights on it to add the effect of stars. In the foreground, as we can see in the hobbit hole, adding pillars to support the main frame in the archway, and then you can see I'm adding a bunch of fence posts and rocks to add some character to the garden, make it look a little more like a gate and a contained garden. Here are little lanterns. Those were fun to make. Trying to figure out how to make light appear brighter. Here with the windows, you can see I was just adding little details inside to make it look like there was people inside or chairs inside or anything like that. I thought that was very interesting. I was gonna try to pull the light and kind of make it reflect outside a little bit to light up the garden area where the moon was, or where the image was in shadow, I should say. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting, adding a little bit of highlights onto the fence to kind of give more of an idea of where the moon's at, maybe if the moon's hitting it, or the lamps as they're hitting the light is reflecting onto the edges of the fence. For the water here, I wanted to try to give an idea of the light as well. I don't know if I did too good of a job with the reflections, but I mean, it looks okay. The rocks, just adding some texture, some shadows, and highlights of the moon to them to give an idea of shadow, color, depth, and all that fun stuff. Here I was just adding highlights to the front rocks in the front of the Hobbit hole to give an idea of how much light is from these little lanterns. Here's just a little vine I wanted to add because I thought it gave it more character, because, you know, it's a garden, and who doesn't like a nice little vine adding some extra texture and color and all that fun stuff. Here's just a little tree I thought would be fun to add as well, with a very basic leaf painting. And here's the final image. There you go. Looky there. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the original image. To make this last piece of art extra special, as the top build on the list, I animated the background, grass, and lamp swinging in the wind. I also added two small animals, a fox and raccoon, interacting in the foreground. To get into the next video of drawing your Minecraft builds, send me at least 5 screenshots of your original build to submit your Minecraft builds at gmail.com. Further rules are down in the description below, as well as the due date for your build application. If you get an email reply from me saying you've been accepted, I may require you to complete a few extra small tasks to help verify your build. Thanks for watching!